How's it going there, guys? James here from Butler Farms on a dreary, cold, wet afternoon in the middle of winter. Not a lot going on, but this is the time of year that I get all my projects done. I've told you before that I always keep a winter list. I make it as I go throughout the year. I keep it up here in the shop, and it's just ideas that I've had, things that I may have seen somewhere else that I want to try or get into. For instance, if you watch my videos, you saw my compost sifter that I made out of scrap material and some hardware cloth that will allow me, when it's time to start putting my compost out, to just set it on top of the wheelbarrow, shake it around, get the fines out of it, and put the big stuff back in the compost pile. It just saves a lot of time. It makes sure that I get finished compost where I need to get it. And I've been working on another project very similar to that I would like you to see. Now, you also, if you've been watching my videos, know that I have had a horrible time with herbs. The only herbs that I can get to grow up here is rosemary. I've got a big rosemary bush right over there near where I'm clearing off that spot to put my raised bed garden, and it does well. It is booming. I have to cut it back every year, but it's the only herb that I can get to grow. It's the only herb that I can keep. I've tried putting them in the ground. I've tried putting them in raised beds. It just doesn't work. So my plan now is to just do it year by year, try to overwinter it in the house. And what I'll do is I'll get pots and put my herbs in it, put them outside during the right time of the year, and then in the winter I'll bring them in and try to overwinter them as best as I can. If not, I'll just start over the next year. I don't have the time, with me working off the homestead with 2 or 3 different jobs depending on the time of year. I don't have time to continue to try to put them in the ground and things like that right now and baby them to the point that they need to be. I've just had a horrible time with herbs. So one problem that I've had before when I've bought herbs in the pot, no matter where I put them, we've got these crazy dogs that belong to my kids, and they decide to knock everything over. They decide to pick up my pots and run off through the yard with them and things like that, especially the pots the size of that I buy for herbs. So I've built a little carrier, I guess a stand to put my pots in, to simply keep them from turning over, make it a little bit more difficult for them to do that. I can put this on top of a table outside so that they can't get to it, and it's good and heavy, so the pots won't get blown over. Again, the dogs can't get to it, so I don't really know how I'm going to use it yet, but I just wanted you to kind of see what I've been working on. So if you look down here, this is my little invention here. It's nothing but scrap, and I guess that'll clear up in just a moment. But the only pieces that I had to cut, I don't know even where these boards came from, and they were just laying around here. They had ginormous staples in them, so I'm sure they were part of something, some packing or something that I got something in. And you know me, I don't throw away anything, and so they've been in the dry, and I just used them, and that is the only cut that I had to make. These pieces inside that separate the different ones were already little blocks that I had laying up here, and so I just used them. And before somebody says, man, those are some awful looking crooked cuts, and when the cuts are crooked, they tend to go in the frame crooked. I didn't cut them. They were already cut that way. I have no idea what they were used on or where they came from, but they were the perfect size. They're 5 inches, and that's what each of these little boxes are. Here is 5 inches, and with that, what I can do is I went to Lowe's, and I got these little paint cans. This is a 1-quart little paint thing. I was actually looking for the miniature Lowe's buckets that they usually sell about this size, but they were out of them. They had some little cutesy little bitty ones that I really don't know what their purpose in life would be, but these are about the size that I will need to place in here. I may just leave them in the containers they come in. I haven't decided yet, but I will drill some holes in the bottom of those for drainage. Maybe put some rocks or something in the bottom just to give it a little oxygen underneath. And then they fit perfectly into these slots and they won't turn over. They got a little bit of room, but they hold them upright. They won't turn over. The dogs won't knock them over. Another thing that I did, and it's going to be hard to see out here as it's getting darker. There you go. You can see the hardware cloth on the bottom. And that's just so if I want to pick them up and move them, I know that they've got something good and hard to sit on that will allow water to drain through, dirt to fall through, whatever the case may be. Now, I didn't buy the hardware cloth either. I had pieces and scraps left over from my compost sifter and some other projects. You can see what's left there, and I'm not going to throw that away either. I always find a use for it, just like all of my fruit tree wraps that I made that I'm going to put on this winter. That came from a new piece, but it produced some leftover pieces, and that's what I use for this kind of stuff. So everything in here was just stuff I had saved, and like I said, I only had to make 2 cuts, which were these side pieces. And everything else, I just happened to find these blocks that were the right size, and like I said, they were cut crooked, so I don't know if they were cut that way on purpose. I honestly don't remember what they were from or what they were for, but they fit perfectly. And so this will hold 6 different herbs or whatever I choose to do, and I'm kind of excited about it simply because you know, we use a lot of herbs, but we end up having to buy them simply because I've been so bad at growing them. And I think this is going to help because I can keep an eye on them. They're not in the ground down at the garden where I can't keep an eye on them. And you know, as long as I can keep them alive in the pot, I think we're going to be all right. And it holds them good and tight. I can pick this up and move it wherever I want it. And I think it's going to be a good deal. One other thing that I thought about doing is putting some more boards, about 3 of them on here. And what that'll allow me to do is I've got some places that, and I haven't decided to do this yet, where I could put them, mount this on the side of a building. And I could put the boards back here on the back and have something to screw to, and just mount it that way. But I don't know that I'm going to do that yet. I think I'm going to leave it just like it is. I may end up right over here in front of my shed, as long as it doesn't get in the way of me getting the lawnmower out. I may leave it somewhere up here. The dogs don't generally come up here much, and that way it's kind of out of the way. It gets plenty of sun. You can kind of see through there. You get a lot of morning sun, and it'll block that hot afternoon sun. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's just another one of those winter projects, one of those things that I don't know that I saw it somewhere or I just dreamed it up in my mind. But as I think of things, I write them down. And I'm bad about writing stuff down and then having to go back and go, what did I mean by that? So what I end up having to do is sometimes when I write them down, I just do a little rough sketch out to the side. And this was one of those, because if I'd have just put herb pot holder or whatever, it wouldn't have made a bit of sense 6 months later, now that I put it together. But just those little winter projects, just things to make life a little bit easier, just trying to do a little bit better, trying to get some more sustainability up here. It's not always just about growing the food. You know, herbs obviously we use them in cooking to flavor food, but they can also be used medicinally. And a lot of things you can do with them at the end of the season, and dry them out and grind them up and have the same things but much better than what you buy at the grocery store. But again, they can also be used medicinally. So there's a lot of upsides to it and very little downsides, except for the fact that I've been so incredibly unlucky in growing them. But that's all I'm working on today. I got to get inside and get ready for another day of work tomorrow. But just to get outside for a little while, even as nasty and wet and cold as it is a blessing. And I, you know, just love working on this kind of stuff, getting ready. It's already got the juices flowing for spring, and being able to you know, just get my hands in the dirt and start growing something. And right now, when I can't do that, this is the kind of stuff that I'm up to. So anyway, I'm gonna get off here, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. If you watch one of my videos, the best thing that you can do for me is to hit that thumbs up button, and I would greatly appreciate it. And until next time, we love you. God bless you. This is James from Butler Farms, and we'll be seeing you.